Cheers, how you do, buckaroos, and how the heck are you? So I picked up a mixed pack, a Boulevard. Came with their Boulevard Wheat, their Classic, and their Boulevard Pale Ale. But I had two of their tasting room beers, a Centennial IPA and an Oatmeal Raisin Cookie Brown Ale. But I remembered that a few weeks ago, well, about a month ago now, when we were up in Kansas City, I picked up these pickles from Kansas City Canning Company. Unfiltered hoppy pickles that use, they use the Boulevard unfiltered wheat. So I thought I'd pair the pickles with the beer. How about that? So traditionally, a beer like this, some would put a lemon on. And since the popularity of the Belgian wit, well, a lot of people just drop an orange into everything. But because of all the wonderful things, because, sorry, I lose myself every once in a while. Because of these pickles, use the unfiltered hoppy pickles. Because this beer. Because these pickles, okay, start again. Because these pickles use this beer, I decided to garnish it with this pickle. And now I'm going to eat the pickle. What's interesting about these pickles is they're slightly tart, but not quite as much as, say, a dill pickle. They're slightly sweet, but not as much as, say, a bread and butter. It feels like somewhere across between both of them. And I really like that combination. So cheers, y'all. So I thought I'd pair the Classic Boulevard Wheat, 4.4%, 14 IBUs. I didn't have that memorized, folks. It's on the bottle. I just had to wait a second for my bifocals to adjust. These are amazing. I gotta admit, man. I picked them up more out of curiosity, but they are just damn good. I gotta be honest with you. They are pretty amazing. I use them in place of other pickles. You know, if I'm gonna put a pickle on a sandwich or a burger, I use these in place of, say, if you're gonna use a dill or a bread and butter, depending on the flavor profile you're going for. I just like them, man. They do. So anyway, cheers. I think you'd probably have to say this is their flagship beer. This is the one that really got things going for them, even though the style isn't as popular as it once was. Throughout the entire 90s into the new millennium, it really was the American wheat that kept the craft beer industry going. Despite other beers and other popularity, it really was. I mean, the craft breweries that came out with an American wheat are those that really thrived. Now, I'm not saying other styles didn't play a factor, but it really was the American wheat that had a lot to do with the survival. It seemed like all the early craft breweries did an American wheat, and they did a stout. They did a couple other beers typically. Most of them did a Kolsch or some kind of, lighter beer. A lot of them didn't do lagers because they didn't have the capability, so they do a Kolsch ale or a Kolsch style ale, more to the point. But a lot of them just did this. They did an American wheat because it was drinkable and palatable for non-craft beer drinkers. And you didn't have the crazy beers and crazy flavors that you had now, so it wasn't unusual to see a brewery or a brew pub have only 4 beers on tap. They had a wheat, they had a stout, they had a couple others, sometimes a pale ale, sometimes a Kolsch, and it would vary. You really didn't see a lot of IPAs early on. I didn't come till later, folks, but not that the style didn't exist, but a lot of breweries just didn't do them. A lot of early craft beer drinkers, a lot of Americans were going from drinking swill to drinking good beer. So a lot of them really didn't understand, including myself. I'll put myself in that category. We understood malt quicker than we did hop. So I could easily take hold of the maltier beers, the stouts, because I love stouts. We started getting brown ales. We started getting, just big malty fare. The Märzen, for instance. I love the Märzen. And those were beers you saw early on. We didn't see a lot of heavily hop beers till much later. And in fact, in my opinion, it's really only been in the last 15 years that the hoppy beers have really kind of taken over the market. early on it was all about the malt, and it was about drinkability. It wasn't necessarily about the malt; it was about drinkability, and that's what a beer like this is known for. So anyway, cheers, cheers. Anyway, I digress. Watching a fake fire on my TV. I was cranking some tunes before I started the video. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, beer evangelist, prolific beer drinker, pervert wisdom man. Biscuits and gravy. Excuse me, all around good guy. Cheers, y'all.